Hi everybody, it's Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and on our How Do I today, we are going to talk about scraps. Scraps. I don't know about you, but I love the fabric that I choose for projects, and sometimes I just don't have the heart to throw them out because they're good fabric, and then you store them and then it just gets all over and you don't have space for new fabric. It's a personal problem. But we're going to talk about a little project that we can do today that is fun, quick, and easy, and it's a scrap buster. So you might have leftover pieces from a layer cake. You might have leftover pieces from binding and just odds and ends. So why not put them to work? We are going to talk about making placemats. Yep. Easy scrap buster, you're going to love it. So let's take a look at what we've got going on over here. So here I have a piece of batting, and actually this was a scrap of batting that two different pieces that I actually stitched together. And then on the back I have just a plain piece of ivory cotton that I had. And so again, that is a leftover from a different project, so it makes a perfect back. But what I did, and it may not be the 100% right way, it's the way I did it, but I cut my backing to the finished size I want my placemat to be, put my batting down, and then I just zigzagged them together so I have one unit. Because I want to make these placemats, but I don't want to have to quilt it later, so I want to quilt as I go. So what you're going to want to do is find a piece of fabric that you want to use. It might be a pretty print or whatnot, and you put it down onto your fabric, and then we're going to do what is called quilt-as-you-go. And to do that, you take your fabric and you're going to put the raw edges together on your fabric, and notice I have my first fabric all the way to the edge of my batting, and then I have my other fabric, and I'm just going to pin that right on. And you don't have to use pins if you don't want to. And then we're going to stitch this down. So I'm going to come over to my machine, and I am going to, on the machine, I am going to actually choose to use my quilting stitch, which moves it over. Or actually this stitch is just moved it all the way over to the left-hand side. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch my seam. And I want to start right at the edge of the fabric and work my way to the other side. And let me get rid of that pin so I don't run over it. And this doesn't really matter if you're using a 1/4 inch or not, because it's not a real quilt, so it doesn't matter what we choose to do as long as you're consistent and you're happy with what you're doing. So I'm actually using the left side of my foot as a guide here, and it's keeping me going nice and straight. Okay, so let's take a look back at what we got done here. So we've seamed this right here, so then I would press this open so I could take my iron and press it and have it nice and ready to go there. And then we take our next piece and you just continue on. So let's take a look at one that I have started already. So I have this piece here, and I put down my first pieces just like I just showed you. Then I added this piece, and it's just kind of a fun little puzzle piece. So you can just do whatever you want. It's kind of improvisational. I guess that's not even how you say it. Improvisational. And so you just keep going. So I'm going to stitch this one right here, and then I'm going to do another one, and then I want to show you what I'm going to do to fill up that space at the end that is not has a hole, where I have a hole there. Okay, I'm going to take this over and let me press it real quick so I can get that open. And again, if you're more comfortable pinning, then please do. So I have one more piece to put on here, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that spot right there. Okay, so I'm going to take my next piece, do the same thing, right sides together, matching up the raw edge, and then I'm just going to stitch that on. So you can think of how fun and easy this is, and how rewarding it is to use up your scraps. You bought them together, they look great together, so it's nice to do something fun with them. Okay, all right, so let me raise that up. Let's go over here and we will press this into place. Okay, so now that we have our placemat pretty well done, I'm going to need to fill this spot. Now what I have here that I want to use there is I have a piece left over that I had cut off of this piece right here. So let me show you how I did that just really fast. When I was laying down fabric, and these are the same way, this extends out past my space. So I'm just going to take my ruler and my rotary cutter, and then I can clean that up. So there's that piece. And then let me trim off this one really quick, and then we'll flip it back to the other side. And since we're on the back side, if you take a look, you can see hopefully the quilting has been done by my piecing, so I don't even have to worry about doing that. Okay, so let's flip it back over. Now it's nice and clean. And when I cut this one off, I don't know if you noticed, but I had stitched it all the way to the edge. So now I have a usable piece that I can put back into my project. So let me get my pressing mat back up here. So let's talk about this place right here, right now. So I have a leftover scrap from here. And so I can put that there, or, and if I do, I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can show you how it works. You'll notice that I have, it doesn't quite go all the way. I need it to cover up that edge. So I want to add on to this piece. So I'm going to take one of these, of this piece, and I'm going to add on to this one. But it's really close, isn't it? So actually what I'm going to do is take that piece and make it just a wee bit shorter. So that way more of this second print that I'm going to put in there will show. So let's just make it a little bit. And see, I didn't plan this. I'm just making it up as I go, which is really, really fun. And if you are a person that does not handle that well, guess what? It's a good way to get used to letting it go and relax. Okay, so I have the edges lined up here on the top. So let's go up here and we're going to just go ahead and piece these two pieces together. Okay, and we'll press it, give it a quick press, and then we'll see how much we need to take off. And I'm just going to press to one side, so I'm just going to flop that over and give it a quick little press. Okay, now let's see what we've got going on. So, come on. In you go. There we go. Okay, so I want this to come about to here. So let me mark that. I don't know if can you see what I'm talking about? I just kind of eyeballing, do I want this to come right to the very edge, to the corner, which I can, and that will give me a little sliver there. That's actually kind of cute, so we can plan on that. I'm not going to just cut it right away because I want to make sure that I have it where I need it to go. And since I don't want to do any wacky seaming, I'm simply going to fold it under right where I have my pin. I put that pin right along this seam line right here. So I'm just going to line up that edge and press that seam into place. And let me show you what that's going to look like. I can take the pin out now, and let's put that down, and I'm going to have that line up right like that. Now, is that right? Yeah, that will work right there. So now I can take my scissors and I can cut off the bulk of this extra fabric because we don't need it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give that one more press because it doesn't seem like it is happy pressing. It's being stubborn and wants to pop back up. Okay, so now he's ready to go. So I'm going to line that up, the edge here and the edge of my new fabrics, and I'm going to align my folded edge with the existing seam from this line. So let me take this and I'm going to do a pin right here so he doesn't move, and then I can come over here and pin this just so they don't move, and let's give that a quick stitch. Okay, so put my foot down And I am just gonna zip this on. Okay, when I get down here near this edge where the folds are, I'm gonna kind of go a little bit slower just to make sure that nothing shifts and they get out of the way. So I'm gonna do a stitch and do a reverse and tack that down. And now we can press. Oops, there we go. Okay, so now we have that. Let's just flop that over, take the pin out, flop that over, and look, it covers up my raw edge, and you really don't know that it wasn't stitched before. So now what I would do, now I'm using contrasting thread just so you can see it, but I would use a matching thread and give that a nice little stitch down so it doesn't come up on us. And I'm going to do like 1/8 of an inch, just little top stitch, and call that good. So I'm just going to run all the way down to the bottom and then give it a little reverse so that way it locks it in, cut my thread, and now we're ready to go. We have a little bit of trimming to do, but otherwise the placemat is done. We just want to trim it up and then put binding on as you desire. So this one was done using binding that is part of the backing is all one and it flips over to the front. So that's an easy way to do it. And this one was done with a traditional piece of binding. So it's easy to do. So as you can see, these are just fun and it's really quick to go together. And so you can do all sorts of fun things with these. You can make them as gifts. It will brighten up your house for the holidays or for the season. And they're great to use if you have pieces of focal fabric that you want to have on there. It could be that simple. Or if you want to do like this one, you can use parts of a panel and you can use that. Or what about orphan quilt blocks? Your test embroidery designs that you want to see if you like the colors of. You have those left over too. Why not put them into something fun that you can use? All right, well, thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time on our How Do I series.